Alright guys, this is a long playing review for Forgotten Worlds on the Amstrad CPC, and this is a really cool little side-scrolling shoot 'em up where you control two cool dudes battling against various invading aliens that have desolated the planet Earth. And the plot for this, set in a distant future, an evil god known as Emperor Bias has destroyed most of the Earth, turning it into a desolated wasteland known as the Dust World, and two nameless super soldiers are created by the people to defeat Bias and the 8 evil gods who serve him. Yeah, well, this was a arcade machine from Capcom in 1988 and had a rotating fire button. Well, you can see that grey button there on the cab there next to the joystick, which added an interesting gameplay dynamic. And as usual, when we do arcade conversion reviews on the Amstrad, we'll take a quick look at the arcade original, just so we can get a good comparison, seeing how it fares against the original. There we go, starting up. And as you can see, your dude there, he floats about the screen. Doesn't appear to have a jetpack or anything, but yeah, as you can see guys, I'm rotating the angle there, which you would normally do on this rotating fire button you would have on the cab, so you can angle your shots and stuff. A nice range of different sort of enemies and bad guys you fight against, like this sort of junk thing that sort of rears up vertically against you. And a shop appears, which you can fly into and pick up items. And lots of different weapon pickups available. Picked up a two-way shooting thing. You can also get some information on the level as well. So now we've got 3 shots, and we've got this little sort of thing floating again in front of us. A bit like R-Type actually. It's an additional power-up for your weapon. And it can also act as a kind of a shield against bullets. And using the rotating thing on the fire button, if you don't press the button, you can rotate it around you, which I didn't work out at the time here, otherwise I would have rotated it to be right in front of me to deflect against the bullets. So yeah, we've got this rotating sort of scheme on the go again, a bit like Ikari Warriors and Guerrilla Wars, but this time it's for your shooting in a horizontally scrolling game, using the fire button to rotate rather than the rotating joystick of like Ikari Warriors. So how would the Amstrad version fare with this? We're about to find out. And I hope you paid attention there guys to the graphics, the enemies and the bosses there. Now in the arcade original there's about 5 stages, but I think the last 2 stages is kind of split into sort of about 2-3 sub-levels and bosses each. Basically stage 4 is missing out the Amstrad version, and I think mostly 8-bit versions as well. Oh, nice loading screen there. So instead we've got 4 stages with 1 boss each. And the stage that's missing I think is stage 4, which is the sort of the Egyptian theme. Very, very basic title screen here guys. Conversion by Arc Developments. According to what I found out, the programmers were Mark Crane, and graphics by Steve Berkeley. Mark Crane didn't do much to the Amstrad. He did do Storm Warrior for Elite, which wasn't much to write home about. But anyway, here we go. And as you can see guys, really, really nice graphics. And we've already got like the nice scenery and same enemy look as in the arcade original. And as you can see guys, we can move up, down, left and right rather nice and smoothly. And you probably noticed that we can rotate ourselves, but it's I don't like how they've implemented this. You can only rotate while holding down the fire button, which is when you're shooting, which makes it really, really awkward. If you want to move left and right, you'll find yourself rotating around and missing shooting the enemies that are approaching you. And I don't like that they didn't just give the option of redefining keys so you can have like the rotation done by using 2 keys on the keyboard along with your joystick, which I think would have been a much better method. There's those junk monsters. 2 shops appear in the level. You can only enter one of them. So I usually enter the second one so we can get as far as we can before we buy a weapon, and also buy to restore our health. That's armour. That's your health pickup. And the 2 above there, obviously 2 directional in the top right there, and also increased firepower on your main weapon. So now we've pretty much got the weapons we're going to be using throughout the game. Missing are like I think there's like a flamethrower weapon you can buy in the arcade original. I think there's another type of weapon as well. So basically we'll stick with like 3 directional sort of shooting quite quickly. But as you see guys, it's scrolling really nice and smoothly at a decent speed. There is basically slowdown occurring when there's lots of enemies on the screen, but it still moves at a really good rate. You'll see later on when the screen's cleared of enemies that it suddenly moves really quickly. In fact, it was too quick. Unfortunately, some things are missing on this level. The cogs are there, but you're supposed to be able to shoot them, and they'll sort of fall down the screen. The gas pipes there are not sort of shooting gas explosions out, which is a bit of a shame, so you just need to avoid them. Though you can sort of fly right through them, but you get sort of caught up in them. You don't lose any energy for that though, which is good. And we're coming up to the first end of level boss, which is this horrible sort of junk monster. And we just need to shoot him in the little hole there. Looks like his arsehole basically. So stay where I am guys. You pretty much won't get hit by any objects or bullets, apart from there will be 1 bullet that will move out sort of horizontally to the left towards us. There it is. You just need to move up and use your little power up thing there as a sort of a shield. And yeah, very easy to defeat once you've worked out that you can do this. But the boss is exactly like how it is in the arcade, and it's really nice how those junk objects sort of fly around really smoothly and quickly at you. Very nicely programmed. And on to level 2. Very minimal presentation, unfortunately, guys. Should be a nice little cutscene of the 2 dudes talking to each other, which is not on the Amstrad version, sadly. And as you can see, how I got through the first level, I've sort of kept the far left of the screen and just moved up and down without rotating much to get me through. Oh, nice little sort of green sea monsters there, trying to eat you. But if you stick towards the top left of this screen on this level, it's certainly a little bit more helpful. But there are points where you can't just keep sticking around there. Here's the shop. That top right one is like an 8-way shooting thing, but it shoots really slowly, and you need to get lots of bullets on a lot of the enemies. For example, the gun turrets on this level are an absolute swine because there's lots of them and they take about 3 or 4 hits to explode. And it's the gun turrets that are going to basically sap all your energy. In fact, this level is I found absolutely ridiculously hard. Now here's the gun turrets. I'm losing energy here, but I'm using my power up as a sort of a shield and getting rid of them as quickly as possible. And you really have to sort of play this level again and again and plan your route of where you're going to move. Oops. See, I'm losing lots of energy there. I found this level absolutely ridiculously hard, and I remember giving up playing this when I actually bought it originally. On budget at the time from the Kicks label. And I haven't played this game much since because I just found the level too ridiculously hard. And the key, and what we need to do in this level, guys, is try and get through this with leaving myself, I think, either at least 1 or 2 lives spare, because we will need them for the next 2 levels, which are, I found, a little bit more easier than this level, but we need to save up at least a couple of lives. Otherwise, we're not going to finish a game as tough as this. And it took me so many tries to get through this second level, and I had to sort of plan out and make notes of where bad guys appear. Are they going to appear from the left or the right? When the gun turrets are going to sort of appear in this level. It's a shame because it really ruined the enjoyment of this for me, because I think actually for how it looks, plays and is programmed, despite the sort of the annoying rotation mechanic, this should be a really awesome game. In fact, it looks fantastic, but it's just too difficult, and it's gonna put most people off playing to the end, or at least trying to get through this. But we've scraped through this level, and there we go. I've got 2 lives left, and quite easy to defeat this guy. I didn't know this when playing this, but you can actually sort of go through the dragon's body and stay where I am there. All you got to do is shoot him in the heart, with that sort of below the hand there, and look out for any bad guys that appear in the top right. There they go. Very nicely designed boss though, and I like how the dragon's fire breathing as well. But that's level 2 done, and that's pretty much the hardest level in the game, guys. And I didn't enjoy making this long play, because trying to get through that level with only losing 1 life was just an absolute nightmare. Ha! The Dust Dragon is no more, says the title screen. Well, level 3. And yeah, we've got a nice sort of scrolling background there, nice and smooth. The other thing I think lets this game down a little bit is kind of the collision detection at times. I think it's slightly suspect enough. It takes so long to destroy enemies because they take about 3 or 4 hits, and sometimes I feel like, are my bullets sort of flying through them? Are they taking damage like they should do? And sometimes I just get randomly shot and lose energy, especially when you're sort of at the far left of the screen, and I'm not sure where that's coming from. It may have been like a gun turret of mist and it's still shooting at me as it's scrolled off the screen or something. It's incredibly frustrating. Like it happens a lot on the second level, and will happen again on this level very shortly, where we get faced against lots of gun turrets. But thankfully they're a little bit more easy to get rid of. Here's the second shot we're going in this time, after collecting lots of Zenny and money. That powers up the main weapon. I'm not going to go for the top right one. I mean, that's like a super weapon, but only fires in one direction. And really, we need to be blitzing as many enemies as possible that are scattered across the screen. So now we've got a weapon that fires out lots and lots of bullets really quickly in 3 directions. It doesn't seem to help that much. I think it takes a lot for like your hits to still register against the guys you're shooting against. So they still get that that second or two where they can fire up a few bullets against you. It's a bit of a shame. And here's the section with the gun turret. It's nice how they've got this thing sort of scrolling downwards, moving downwards. Basically, stay where I am, guys. Keep shooting and get rid of the turrets as much as possible. Because even though when they've just disappeared below the playing area, they can still fire bullets at you, which is really annoying and very frustrating. You're taking hits randomly and you don't know where because you're not seeing it. You can't see it. So I do think there's probably a couple of bugs, maybe, or just poor programming. But the rest of the programming is absolutely first rate and excellent. This could have been a real classic scrolling shoot 'em up for the Amstrad, definitely. I just don't think the collision detection is brilliant, and it's just far too difficult. In fact, the way I've got through this third section, this third level, is to sort of exploit a bit of a level design flaw and bug, which I don't like to do. I like to try and play games properly and beat them as they should be beaten. But otherwise, again, it would be just impossible. And here's how we do it. we can just sit in the bottom left corner of the screen there, and none of those gun bullets will be able to hit us, because the turrets are on the lower sections are just set slightly too high for the bullets to make contact with me to cause damage. And basically that's how we get through this incredibly difficult section. I'm already down to like 1 life left, and you know, if I hadn't exploited this, I would have really struggled to actually finish this long play, I think. It just gives me a second to reflect, really. I mean, there's quite a few flaws in this game, but you know, and I think if they'd sorted it out and sort of tweaked the difficulty, or maybe gave you a few extra more lives, or a continue perhaps. There's no continues in this game, guys, so once your lives are gone, it's game over. I would have rated this really highly. As it stands though, due to difficulty level, the frustration value, especially with how they've implemented the rotation, which is difficult to do, and it's a difficult choice for programmers, but at least give us the option to redefine keys so we can sort it for ourselves, you know. So overall, guys, I'm gonna have to give this a 7.5 out of 10 as a review score. But these end of level bosses are really impressive. Just look at this. This is huge, and it's sort of scrolling downwards into us. Very nicely done. This is absolutely massive enemy boss here. And that's it. That's his entire size, and that's his arms coming in to sort of crush and thump us. So the weak points on this boss is basically, first of all, destroy his shoulders, bizarrely enough. Shoot at his shoulders on the left and right, and then you can go to shoot him in the face. And here's his head appearing. And this boss is absolutely massive and featured quite prominently on all the you know, the art on the box and on the loading screen as well. A bit surprised he wasn't the final boss, actually, because he's a far more impressive looking one. Then we do get to fight on the final level next. So we're just shooting his shoulders, but when the arm appears, moves to the opposite side of the screen. Oop. Trying to make contact with his shoulder. There it is. And if you're at the very, very top of the screen, you're safe from his bullets, again, that he's firing from the centre of his forehead. Move across when the arm appears, of course. There, that should be his right shoulder blown up shortly. But I'm not risking losing any more energy. We want to finish this level with at least 1 life left. Or 1 life spare. Ah, cool. We can now attack his forehead, but we do need to move down the screen. So we've got to be very, very careful to avoid. Took a little bit of energy there, but we just knocked through, and we just need to find a sweet spot so we can shoot his forehead, avoiding his bullet attacks. And there we go. And that should be him done. So yes, very impressive end of level boss battles. The dragon was certainly impressive on the previous level, but this is even more so. So yeah, get a bit of extra bonus there, and on to the final level. Welcome to level 4. The God of War must be saying his prayers. And here we are. It looks like we've skipped out the sort of the Egyptian theme level in the arcade, which was stage 4, and jumped to sort of stage 5, which I think is kind of a mythical sort of Greek themed level. And The enemies you're now fighting against are real swines. They're taking a lot of hits. I just want to point out as well, guys, I forgot to mention, there is a simultaneous 2-player action you can have on the go, and it's really well done. There's no slowdown, and you can play this as 2 players, as combined forces. In fact, one of the ways I was going to beat this game was to sort of, you know, if I ran out of lives on the first player, then you could activate the second player to complete the rest of the game. But you're stuck with a weaker weapon, which would probably made it really impossible. Or I was going to use him as kind of a bullet shield. But I've already exploited, like, you know, one little trick there on like level 3 to get through those turrets. So we're going to do this as properly as possible, just using 1 player. Nice little snake monster there as well. Here's the shop. It pops out the bottom, pops out the ground there rather nicely. Yeah, some nice little touches they've done here. Like, you know, the shop doesn't need to sort of pop out the ground. The programmers have taken the time to program it in, which I appreciate. Oh, first we're going to buy an extra life there. Buy some health. Buy some armour. Buy the newspaper, and it says BIOS is weak on chest, which is going to be the final battle against the evil BIOS. And look, there's a rather strange head that appears out of the ground there. So I do like the programmers have gone to the effort to sort of program these little things in. They've tried to keep it as close and as true to the arcade original as much as possible, which I really appreciate. And I think, despite its problems, I was heading towards giving this an 8 out of 10. But the rest of the presentation, like on just like the title screens and in between levels, is really basic and poor. There's no music. There's just text on the title screen. And sadly, guys, I'm going to ruin surprise, but you know, rather than disappoint you, the ending, there isn't an ending. It's just really crap. You get your bonus totted up, and then it goes back to the title screen. Not even a completion screen message. Just a little bit of text going, "Well done, you defeated BIOS and completed the game." So that really pissed me off after spending many days and hours trying to beat the game. After all your hard work, you're given the difficulty of the game. So yeah, I'm pretty peeved off about that. So that's why it's only got 7.5 out of 10. Otherwise it would have been a very cool arcade conversion. So the graphics and sprites are lovely, nice and smooth scrolling. And I wouldn't consider this half-arsed, just despite the the lack of a presentation and no ending, which is unusual for US Gold, which released this in about 1989, a year after the arcade came out. Seeing the words US Gold and arcade conversion together usually put terror in the heart of an Amstrad gamer, because they were nearly all crap. But this is pretty decent. And gosh, we're nearly out of energy there on that life. We've already purchased a second life and restored our energy, so that's why we needed to store at least 2 lives left on level 2, at least 1 life spare on level 3 to get through this game. And here's the final boss battle against BIOS. As you remember, guys, he's weak in the chest, and he flies about the screen, zapping your energy down. And he's quite tough actually, but hopefully you can just find a point where you can just stand there and get lots and lots of bullets hitting him. He takes quite a few hits to kill, and you really do need at least 1 life spare or a full set of energy to get through him. It's going to be quite close. He probably has a set pattern of him flying about, but it's quite random. I didn't quite work it out, so I'm just going to blast away in the vain hope I'll get through this. Running out of energy though. Yay! And that's him defeated, and that's his throne he was sat on there, of some bizarre spaceship. But essentially, guys, that is Forgotten Worlds completed. And sorry about this sound disruption and noise in between levels. I don't think that was in the original game. I think that's something to do with the emulation and dump. But there you go, guys, no ending, straight back to the title screen, sadly. That's it. So what I'm going to leave you with, guys, is sort of some footage of 2-player action on the go. So we're going to start our second player up. There he is. These are slightly different colours. Everything still moves really smoothly at the same frame rate and stuff. There's no slowdown. And it's very playable and very fun with 2 players. But oh, notice my still got the same score and the same weapon, so it allows you to carry on. But there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Cheers.